Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, right, you know.
The year is 2025. Electric cars seem to have won the battle. Tesla and other major players in the market were confidently on their way to changing the automotive industry forever. But one company quietly and without fanfare undermined that confidence. It didn't hold press conferences, launch advertising campaigns with hackneyed slogans, or create a buzz on social media. Instead, in a single moment, in the shadows, in a small Swedish workshop in Ängelholm, the Koenigsegg unveiled something that called into question the entire current course of the automotive revolution. The new technology didn't just surprise people. It made Elon Musk himself lose his composure. Live on TV in front of millions of people, he looked confused and, to be honest, a little scared. Why? What did Koenigsegg do that Tesla and Elon Musk couldn't predict?
Running around on stage with the Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep, what a jerk. Like who derives joy?
It wasn't just a new engine. It was an engine that turned the idea of what electric cars of the future should look like on its head. The energy efficient, compact, powerful, 800 horsepower and 1,250 Nm of torque from a single electric motor. And yet it's smaller than a regular suitcase. It's not just an engine, it's a new philosophy of approach to cars. And most importantly, Koenigsegg presented it without warning, without long announcements and colorful teasers. They just released the updated specifications and let their cars speak for themselves.
Well, this feels more like a Tesla-only story when you look at just this fall in EV sales for them that they're suffering across Europe, down 45% in January. The wider EV market in Europe up 37%, so rivals are catching up and performing.
But here's the intrigue. Why did the entire automotive industry remain silent when such innovations should have been trumpeted by all the media? Why has no one else repeated this step yet? And what consequences await the market if Koenigsegg succeeds in bringing its concept into mass production?
I mean, the things that he's doing is not trying to make America better. He's ruining our infrastructure, every department in our government. He's ruining, and he's right now destroying our economy. He's taken away all of our allies. We're a pariah in the world.
What does this mean for the future of electric vehicles? This is not just a new engine, it is something more. It is new standards, new approaches, and new challenges. Is this explosive progress or the beginning of the end of the electric revolution as we know it? The answer to this question could forever change the course of automotive history.
That's from the European Automobile Manufacturers Association. People just choosing with their wallets to not buy Teslas because of that Musk-Trump association. And actually here in London, an activist group called Everyone Hates Elon actually have been hacking bus stop signs with posters. I actually passed one yesterday. First, I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but it said the words 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds. Illusion here, 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds or something. But this poster was alluding to the start of World War II, and the image was of Musk giving that hand salute that we saw at Trump's inauguration that many have attacked as a Nazi gesture. Musk, though, has neither admitted or denied what he was doing. But we're seeing the knock-on effect of that anti-Musk anger across Europe and in terms of sales.
Today, we'll tell you how one decision by a small company challenged the giants, how new technologies are making old concepts seem archaic, and how a future that seemed inevitable is suddenly full of uncertainty. Why did Tesla suddenly find itself in a situation where it has to not just compete, but fight for its place in the sun? Ask yourself, if a small Swedish company can do what even market leaders cannot yet do, who really runs this world? Who will dictate the rules of the game in the future? And more importantly, what does this mean for us, the consumers? Will we continue to be victims of standards, or will we be able to choose a new path that offers us a real revolution?
outperforming as well in some cases, doing better than Tesla. And you just have to think, how much more is this a sustained issue for Tesla going forward, given the fact that you have Elon Musk, who's been very forthright in his opinions, particularly weighing in on politics, particularly in Europe. We've just had the European elections, which Musk has been very focused on. But across the piece, when you look at the performance for Tesla in Europe, it's not just in small countries. A lot of countries where Tesla has been performing badly, including in Germany, in the UK, where it has been lagging, and Spain as well.
In 2025, the automotive industry experienced a moment that will be seen as a turning point in the future. While the whole world was focused on the achievements of Tesla and other major electric vehicle manufacturers, a small company from Sweden, Koenigsegg, demonstrated an innovation that not only changes the rules of the game, but completely rethinks the approach to the cars of the future. The spotlight was on a new engine with incredible specs, minus 800 horsepower and 1,250 Nm of torque from a single electric motor. What's amazing is that this engine was so compact that it could fit in a backpack. Against the backdrop of such figures, Tesla and other manufacturers suddenly began to look outdated, causing panic among top managers of the largest companies. Elon Musk himself, who until then had been recognized as the market leader, could not hide his shock when he saw live on TV that his concept of electric cars could become obsolete.
371, most were saying 350 to 360. Now they're coming in at 336,068, production of 362,615. So for some point of reference here, you're going back to Q2, maybe Q1 of 2022 in terms of the last time that they had production this or deliveries this low for one quarter. So again, Tesla deliveries worse than expected at just over 336,000 deliveries in the first quarter. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
That's horrible. Can I just ask Phil, how about the Cybertruck? How's that doing? You got a little inventory there in the Cybertruck?
What happened? What is the secret of this revolution? In 2025, Koenigsegg did not hold any high-profile presentations or spend millions on marketing. Instead, the company simply presented the updated specifications of its cars, and it was a moment that shook the entire industry. While Tesla, Volkswagen, and others continued to invest in their already outdated battery technologies, Koenigsegg offered a fundamentally new model that combined elements of electric and synthetic fuel systems without relying solely on batteries and rare earth materials.
Teslas are being torched across the country. Dealerships shot up and set on fire. Spray paint to vandalize and make a statement. People in Southern California are getting notes on their Teslas, calling them complicit Nazis for owning electric cars.
But most importantly, Koenigsegg was able to create an engine that was not only powerful but also incredibly efficient and, most importantly, compact. This was a breakthrough that no one expected. Why? Why? Because until then, all engines manufactured for electric vehicles had one common problem. They were too large to combine high power with compact dimensions. Problems with the weight and dimensions of the engines limited their capabilities, which in turn limited the overall efficiency of electric vehicles.
Well, you will hear people over in Europe say the new Model Y, the Juniper, could be a difference maker, but that's been in that market now for more than a month. And you would think that you'd see a greater snapback if it's going to be a difference maker. Look, we could be wrong. It could be a difference maker once you get the sales for April, May, and June. But when you have a country like Norway, I think the sales were down something like 11% there. I mean, that's a very savvy EV consumer in Norway. And that's long been a strength for Tesla. Very small market, not huge volume, but I think almost all of the vehicles they sell there are electric. And they embraced Tesla long before others. And, you know, the reports there are not encouraging.
However, by 2025, it had become clear that these cars had limitations that were not mentioned in the flashy commercials. Electric cars became heavier, with each new generation increasing not only their range but also their weight, and batteries continued to require more and more rare earth metals, which led to environmental problems no less serious than the pollution that electric cars were supposed to reduce. On top of that, charging batteries was still a rather lengthy process, and the network of charging stations was still underdeveloped. All of this raised questions: are we really heading in the right direction, or is the ideology that only electricity is the way forward too simplistic? And that's when Koenigsegg entered the scene. Suddenly, without such powerful advertising campaigns, it unveiled its hybrid engine using synthetic fuel and an ultra-compact electric motor. All the problems faced by Tesla and other electric car manufacturers did not affect Koenigsegg's new approach. In particular, the synthetic fuel that could now be used left no carbon footprint, and at the same time, the engine was so efficient that it completely changed the electric car market.
Over the last couple of months. But the other thing that this could potentially be is an attempt at readjustment or correction by the Trump administration, in that one of Trump's closest kind of allies and supporters, and someone who's clearly very influential in the administration, is coming out to kind of push back against the recently implemented policies. So I'm thinking, or maybe hopeful is the right word, that this might be a signal that the administration is considering walking back some of those policies.
Elon Musk, who had always been convinced that the future lay in exclusively electric solutions, was faced with the fact that Koenigsegg's new product could not only compete with Tesla, but also outshine it. His company suddenly found itself in a situation where its technological path, which had seemed unquestionable, was now being called into question. The question was simple: if Koenigsegg could achieve incredible power and efficiency with minimal size and no heavy batteries, what did that mean for the future of Tesla cars?
Canada, the largest supplier of steel to the U.S., slapping new tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. goods that are sold in Canada. And the 27 countries of the European Union imposing retaliatory tariffs on up to $28 billion worth of U.S. goods sold in Europe, including Harley-Davidson motorcycles and Kentucky bourbon. President Trump with the Irish Prime Minister visiting the White House today. The president suggesting his tariffs won't stop here, saying, "Of course, I'm going to respond." And tonight, right here, the new poll showing 56% of Americans disapprove of President Trump's handling of the economy. The number's even worse now on the president's tariffs.
This moment was a turning point, not only for Elon Musk, but for the entire automotive industry. Koenigsegg showed in an instant that it was possible to not just follow the traditional path, but to seek completely new solutions that did not depend on outdated technologies. Tesla is undoubtedly the most striking example of success in the world of electric vehicles. Since its inception, Elon Musk's company has changed the entire automotive market. Tesla models from the Roadster to the Model X and Cybertruck have become synonymous with innovation and ambitious goals. But what if I told you that by 2025, the world may no longer be so sure that Tesla will remain the leader? Think about it. When Tesla first unveiled its Roadster, it wasn't just a new car, it was a challenge to the entire automotive industry. Elon Musk put not only his money on the line, but also the future of the entire automotive industry, which he believed should become electrified and environmentally friendly.
We've accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
He praised all the domestic actions he has taken so far on immigration.
And I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country.
And spending cuts.
We are draining the swamp. It's very simple.
When Tesla was developing its technology, it wasn't just selling cars. Musk was creating a new approach to the automotive industry, a system of supercapacitors, unique supercharging stations, and even promises of scalability that offered impressive prospects. Tesla made electric cars affordable for the middle class. But here's the thing, all of this was only possible thanks to huge investments and strategic partnerships with major battery manufacturers. Every Tesla model, from the Model S to the Cybertruck, continued to increase in size and weight, which threatened the true goal of environmental cleanliness. The charging process was still quite long, and the batteries used in these cars required significant resources such as lithium, nickel, and cobalt materials that are mined in less than ideal conditions. But an even more serious problem was that the cars were becoming heavier, which affected overall efficiency. But this couldn't last forever. In 2025, the world saw something no one expected. Everyone was used to Tesla being one step ahead, its electric cars synonymous with progress. But then Koenigsegg entered the scene with a concept that was not just an alternative, but a revolution in its own right. Here's why.
Worse than expected, 336 and 68 vehicles, 336,068 vehicles delivered in the first quarter for Tesla. For a point of reference, the street was expecting, the street account was expecting, based on analyst expectations.
Koenigsegg has always been different from everyone else. It wasn't a mass producer like Tesla. The company specialized in producing hypercars that cost millions but offered unique technology and innovation. Finding itself in the shadow of big brands, Koenigsegg made its way quietly and without fanfare. But in 2025, it made a truly shocking discovery. Imagine an engine that could completely change the concept of electric propulsion in just a few years. This engine was the new dark matter, an incredibly compact but powerful motor whose characteristics immediately called into question all outdated systems. Tesla, which had been the leader until then, struggled to compete with this new approach. Unlike other companies that stuck to traditional designs, larger batteries, improved electric motors, Koenigsegg decided to go beyond conventional solutions. The secret of the new approach lay not only in the technology of the engine itself, but also in a fundamentally new philosophy based on the production of smaller, but more efficient and powerful engines that could be integrated into compact, lightweight cars. Among other things, synthetic fuel was used, which ensured almost zero carbon dioxide emissions. This engine was so efficient that the car did not require a huge number of batteries, like Tesla's. Koenigsegg's new system meant not only space savings but also improved overall dynamics and efficiency.
Hey Diane, this investigation really just beginning, and one of the key elements will of course be the surveillance video, and investigators potentially have a lot of it to work with as they try to figure out what caused this fire. We know that surveillance footage has been turned over, including video from each of the cars, which could prove vital to understanding what happened here, because each vehicle has its own camera system that works even when the car is off, and 16 cars burned in this fire, and right now investigators don't know what caused it.
How did Tesla respond to this challenge? Elon Musk, always confident of victory, suddenly found himself facing a dilemma he had never encountered before. Faced with a situation where his previous strategy, based on mass production of electric vehicles with large batteries, was now being called into question, Musk was forced to rethink his approach. Even Tesla, with its multi-billion-dollar investments in batteries and infrastructure, could not simply ignore the fact that someone had come up with a solution that combined efficiency, compactness, and a minimal environmental footprint. Koenigsegg did not just offer technological superiority. They challenged existing norms in the automotive industry. Rejecting massive batteries, replacing them with a compact motor, and introducing synthetic fuel meant that a car could be powerful, environmentally friendly, and yet not require the same level of production costs and raw materials as traditional electric vehicles.
Tesla shares have slumped by more than 9% amid a fall in sales in Europe. The electric vehicle maker posted lower sales across 5 European countries, including France and the UK. Joining us now to discuss this is CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio. Remy, why do we believe these sales are dropping? What's driving that?
Sure. Well, Errol, basically what Elon Musk has been talking about over the past, say, few months, ever since Donald Trump's election back to the White House, that has been fueling this anger, this frustration, some even say disgust towards Musk, and they're taking it out on Tesla. Tesla now feeling the pain. But because of what's happening here in Europe, Tesla sales fell by nearly half across the continent just last month, 45%.
Unlike Tesla, which built its cars relying on huge batteries and innovative software, Koenigsegg approached the issue from a different angle. It focused on making cars as light and compact as possible, while also making them incredibly powerful. While Tesla concentrated on batteries, Koenigsegg offered an alternative, a hybrid system that combines a miniature but powerful electric motor with synthetic fuel purified of carbon dioxide emissions. which significantly changed the entire approach to ecology. It was this breakthrough that caused other automakers, including Tesla, to lose confidence in their own strategies.
After Trump imposed those sweeping 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel imports, the European Union retaliating with tariffs on up to $28 billion of U.S. goods. Trump making it clear this isn't over, vowing to respond in kind with sweeping retaliatory tariffs early next month.
They're doing what they should be doing, perhaps, for the European Union, but it does create ill will. And as you know, we're going to be doing reciprocal tariffs. So whatever they charge us, we're charging them.
Canada also striking back with new tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. goods, mostly steel and aluminum, but also computers and sporting goods.
Tesla and other major players, accustomed to working in a mass production system, has found themselves unable to compete with the flexibility and innovation demonstrated by Koenigsegg. In addition, the Swedish company did everything itself, from developing materials to assembling every single part. Unlike Tesla, which is tied to huge supply chains and factories capable of producing thousands of cars a year, Koenigsegg produced small batches of cars, but each one was a masterpiece of engineering. This allowed the company to circumvent many of the limitations that prevented larger automakers from following their example.
But they are not ruling out the possibility that this was arson. At the same time, as you just mentioned, there are groups that have been organizing ongoing and peaceful protests at Tesla dealerships around the world. These demonstrations targeting Elon Musk and his affiliation with the Trump administration. Also, Italy's prime minister is said to be close friends with Musk, and there were reports that Teslas have been vandalized in her hometown in Italy. Diane.
Elon Musk, of course, could not stay out of the picture. His attention, like that of the entire automotive industry, was riveted on what Koenigsegg was doing. And despite the tremendous success Tesla had achieved over the years, Musk found himself in a situation where his previous strategy was becoming questionable. The public and government agencies began to ask themselves, if one small Swedish company can offer a cleaner, more powerful, and more efficient solution, what is stopping the giants of the automotive industry? Why do they continue to develop bulky batteries without exploring alternatives, as Koenigsegg is doing?
KTLA Samantha Cortese joins us live with more on the wave of vandalism in protest of Elon Musk and his role in Washington. Sam?
Hi, Sharon, Micah. The ATF and FBI are collaborating with federal, state, and local law enforcement to investigate acts of domestic terrorism surrounding Teslas.
Whatever the case, it's safe to say that Koenigsegg has set a new standard in automotive technology that will influence the entire industry for decades to come. They have shown that it is possible to make a car powerful and environmentally friendly without relying on heavy batteries and rare earth materials. This has set a precedent that has forced even the biggest players to rethink their strategies. The future may not be as clear-cut as it once was, and the cars that will be developed in the coming years will be very different from what we are used to seeing. And it is Koenigsegg that has become the light that guides the way, despite the dark clouds hanging over the automotive industry.